Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Photo Notes. My name is Tony Colangelo, and as always, I'm with my good friend, Wayne Capilli.
Morning.
Good
How are you?
morning, Wayne. How are things?
It's a Friday. It's sunny. It's spectacular.
Oh, I'm glad you're having a good day. Today, Wayne, as always, we're excited to present another Photo Notes, but today is going to be a special one because we're talking about tilt shift lenses. And Wayne, I don't know about you, but I know when I was starting out and I heard about tilt shift lenses, it was almost magical. There's this mysticism about this thing called a tilt shift lens. And we thought it would be a good idea to talk about it, to break through some of the mysticism and misconceptions about the lens, to talk about what it can do, and to give some insights as to when it might be appropriate for you to actually consider picking up a tilt shift lens,
Yeah.
for whether it be for real estate or for design work, what have you.
Yeah. Tilt shift lenses actually are very
Okay.
easy.
So before we jump in, though, I am pleased to share on behalf of Wayne and our good friend Fraser Almeida, a terrific photographer out of Las Vegas, that Wayne, Fraser, and I will be doing a workshop at the PMRE conference in Las Vegas this November. This was previously known as the PFRE conference, but our good friend Brandon Cooper has rebranded the conference to PMRE, Photography and Media for Real Estate, which I think is a great evolution and very necessary because it takes into account the reality of the real estate photography world.
We are not just photographers. We are actually digital content providers. So we are media.
Correct. Strategic partners. Absolutely. Absolutely. So our workshop, it's going to be a 2-day workshop in Las Vegas. We are going to be focusing on luxury real estate. So we'll be talking about how to shoot it, how composition differs between luxury and more day-to-day real estate. We'll be talking about how to market to luxury real estate agents. And we're going to give everybody time on the second day with their own gear to go into this great house that Fraser is going to get for us because he's been in Las Vegas for so long, has a lot of connections, and I'm sure will get us a great house to shoot. And folks can bring their own gear and hopefully get some portfolio worthy material for themselves.
Yeah. And one of the things that also is just being around other photographers doing the same thing is so invaluable. And even although I'm teaching the workshop, I would take this workshop just for Tony and Fraser. So I think this is going to be a great workshop.
That's the nicest thing somebody said to me in a long time. So thank you, bud. Okay, so let's jump into our talk today on tilt shift lenses. And Wayne, I want to ask you right off the top, what is a tilt shift lens and what makes it so special?
Okay, so let's take the mysticism out of a tilt shift lens. Really, tilt shift lenses are lenses that have a very large image circle, allowing the lens to move while keeping the camera stationary. That's all a tilt shift lens does. So when we're not tipping the camera up or down, it keeps the verticals perfect. And it also, you need to get into the frame of mind that the lens is moving and the camera isn't moving. So that means that a lot of times when we compose our pictures and when we want something to the left or the right, we tend to literally point the camera left or right. When you have a large image circle, as you'll see, you can shift it over to the left or right or up or down while keeping your same composition. It's something that you have to see.
Well, speaking of seeing it, I know you have a number of different examples that speak to how it's used, why it's used, and its value. So let's jump right in, bud.
So let's start at the very beginning. This is a 24 millimeter lens, and this happens to be a tilt shift lens. I put it down on the ground and I pointed it straight at this building. And, there's a lot of foreground. There's a lot of road. I don't want it. I just want to see more sky. So instead of tilting the camera up, what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to shift the lens up so I see more sky. Again,
Right.
I didn't move the camera. I didn't tilt it up. I simply shifted the lens up, which kept the verticals more consistent. It's a little off, but we can fix that. But
Yeah.
again, this is a 24 millimeter lens, and there's image above that I didn't have to point the camera up. So I want to show you the difference between shifting up and using a 24 millimeter lens. This is a 24 millimeter lens that I now, instead of pointing straight at the building to get more sky, I tilted the camera up to see more sky. And you can see that, that the verticals on this are now kind of pointing upwards. So what we're going to do is we're going to, just simply fix the verticals on this, and then we're going to crop. Something like that.
Okay.
Okay. So we have pointed it up, we have stretched it out, we have, fixed the verticals, and we have now, kind of fixed everything. But now we're going to open up this image, which is the same camera, which is a 24 megapixel camera.
Yeah.
But we've done these images. This is the 24 pointed up with the verticals corrected. I'm going to take this image. I'm going to put it onto the tilt shift lens. This is how much resolution that we're losing by doing it in this method.
Wow.
So again, the 24 that's shifted. I mean, I didn't do the color correction or anything, but you lose so much resolution.
So let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
How might you know that you're ready? Because if, let's say, you've been mulling it over, should I, shouldn't I? It's a lot of money, blah, blah, blah. What's a good indicator in your mind, Wayne, that, I think it might be time?
Let me show you another example. This one's just simple. This is ultra wide angle. And you can see the distortion it is so wide, you can see the distortions on the side. And there's too much sky. There's too much floor and too much ceiling. And I normally would crop to this because I don't need to see the distortion in the door. I don't need to see the distortion on the sides there, which will correct. But so we're going to go something like this.
Yeah.
So what happens is if we were doing a zoom lens, just this thing that we can go up and down is different than if we use the zoom lens, because see that the trigger, those lines.
Yeah.
Those lines mean that I'm at a particular zoom rate. And if I zoomed in, I would lose top and bottom. This allows us to really pinpoint how much in any direction that we want. And you can't do that with a zoom lens. So we're going to do something like
that's right.
And we're going to shift over. Again, shifting over as opposed to literally turning your camera in another direction. I'm not changing the composition by turning the camera. So I'm actually just picking the crop that I want, and it'd be something like that. And that's this is working with a tilt shift lens. So instead of using a 14 millimeter lens and cropping in all the time, a tilt shift lens allows you to pick your comp better. And it's just,
and in a way, and because of that, I think there are two advantages. First of all, it brings your creativity into play in real time at the shoot.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes you think about the actual composition you want, the ratio of floor to ceiling, what have you. Yeah. So I think, and because of that, you don't have to figure that out in post. Right. And at the end of a long day, you're tired. You're taking care of your composition right away on site. And I think that's important to think about. And I think it's an important consideration.
Well, also remember though, if we did this now, if you're shooting wide angle corner to corner and you're cropping all your images, for a specific look, you might want to tilt shift lens because you already are in that frame of shooting wide and picking the area that you're going to be using.
One of the misperceptions I think that's out there is that using a tilt shift lens would slow me down dramatically. What do you say about that?
At the very beginning, it can, but the things with tilt shift lenses, since it's a manual focus lens, your camera height normally stays the same, up or down a little bit, and you're already turning your camera left or right to get a comp anyways by using your lens, and it's just another way of fine tuning your comp. So it really doesn't slow you down at all.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I found. I mean, I know when I started out and I had this mysticism thing going in my head, that was one of my big concerns as well. But it's like anything else. Once you practice it, get used to it, it's really quick.
Let's talk. I was going to talk about the price later, but since we're there, a lot of times people are going to talk about speed and price. And everybody's saying that price on a tilt shift lens is very expensive. Especially with full frame lenses and the lenses that I'm buying now. I think the 12 to 24 is $1,700 for a zoom lens. A lot of the zooms that people are using are about $2,200, $1,800. A good 24 millimeter tilt shift lens you can get for $1,500. So, when we're talking about price, tilt shift lenses are not necessarily that more expensive than the zoom lenses that you're buying now.
Well, I think they are, obviously they are more expensive, but the workmanship that goes in them, the quality of glass, it's going to be with you for the rest of your career. Mm-hmm. And if you have any aspirations at all to transition from real estate and start doing a bit more work for designers and architects, you simply cannot do your best work in that realm without a tilt shift lens.
Yes,
I agree. You might as well get one now and practice and get good at it.
Yeah.
So Wayne, we were talking earlier that there are a number of misconceptions related to using a tilt shift lens. And one of them is that, okay, I've got a tilt shift lens, which means all my distortion problems just goes away magically. And that is not the case. If you are standing too close to your subject matter and you're using a wide angle lens, you're going to get distortion.
Yeah.
And, so here's a bathroom, Wayne, that I shot a long, long time ago. And as you can see here, if you can see my cursor, there's this little, this wall here where the commode is in here. Mm-hmm. And I had to step in several feet from the door jamb. Normally, I'd be standing back and zooming in to minimize distortion, but because I had to go several feet into the bathroom in order to get this clawfoot tub, I brought a whole bunch of distortion into play, and we can see that from that vanity. So mm-hmm. if I take a look here, that drawer, we all know is the same size as that drawer, but look at the difference.
Oh yeah,
in the sizes there. I mean, that's what this wide angle distortion does. And just because you might have a tilt shift lens, well, if I'm standing with my camera at the exact same spot, and I take my wide angle zoom lens and I replace it with a 17 millimeter tilt shift lens, I'm going to get that exact same distortion.
Yes. Yeah. Distortion is by distance, not by the lens. So
that's correct. All right. Do you have any other mystical pieces, misconception pieces that you'd like to clear up?
Well, Not more, but I'm just going to kind of solidify everything that we've been saying about tilt shift lenses. And that is that there's no magic to them. They are simply wide angle lenses that have a very wide image circle that has more image than you can see in the screen. So I'm standing in the back of a wall looking through this atrium, and I can see the ocean. So if I wanted to show more of the building, if I wasn't using a tilt shift lens, I would probably tilt the camera up. And tilting the camera up means that I'm pointing my camera towards the floor instead of the ocean,
or towards the ceiling.
Yeah, which is taking the attention away. Okay, yeah, I know that. Yeah, I know that you can turn it vertically, but again, I need the resolution. So
Right.
I want to tilt shift it. So I'm going to shift my lens up, so I see more of the living room and see more of the sky. Now you need to see something. If you look, I'm looking straight up. As I shift the lens up, you can actually see the distortion of the upper part of the building
Right.
as we're doing it. Again, using a tilt shift lens, even when you're shifting and everything, cannot go past the laws of physics. So
Correct. It's not a magic wand. I mean,
not a
you
magic
really
wand.
have to be thoughtful when you use it.
Yeah. And then, so what we're going to do is we're going to take these, and since they're shifted up, I'm going to photo merge them.
Right.
And we have this.
Here you go.
There you go. So,
Beautiful.
This is one of the things for a tilt shift lens. You can, when you shift them, being that they're perfectly aligned, when you stack them together, they make really, really good panoramics.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So that's it. So that is our discussion on tilt shift lenses. We hope you got some useful nuggets from it. As always, thank you for joining us. Wayne, actually, if you could put at the end of the video, if you could put a link, not only to our contact information, but also a link to the PMRE conference, if you wanted more information about the workshop that Wayne and I and Fraser Almeida are doing. Right, Wayne?
Yeah. A lot of this at the workshop and in person. I'm really looking forward to it.
Oh, it's going to be great. Anyway, thank you again for joining us. Always appreciated. If you have any topics or things that you'd like Wayne and I to cover, please feel free to reach out to the contact info that Wayne will be placing at the bottom of the screen shortly, and we'd be happy to oblige. In the meantime, thanks again. Wayne, thank you as always.
Thank you.
Okay,
and have a good weekend.
We'll see you soon. Have a great weekend.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.